Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you one trick to make your kick drum big and powerful. We're going to be looking at getting a big and powerful kick drum sound today, but before we dive in, if you are looking to dial in a repeatable workflow for getting professional sounding drum mixes, then I want you to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. This workshop is going to walk you through the 3-step process that I use on almost every single one of my mixes for getting professional sounding drum mixes right from your home studio. It is a 100% free to watch, on-demand video training, and you can get access to it by clicking the link below in the video description. Now let's jump in here and take a look at making a big sounding kick drum. So let me start here by playing you the song. This is a finished mix here, and you can hear the drums inside the mix, and then I'll solo up the drums so you can hear the kick drum in context with the drums as well. Then we'll dive into the tip here, but here's the finished mix for this song.
Look through any window, yeah, any time of day. See the drivers on the road, running down the heavy load. Where do they look through any...
So you can hear it's a nice, big, punchy kick drum sound, has some good low end, has some good top end attack and good top end click to it. Let me show you the trick here to getting that big low end while still getting that nice punchy top end. So for me, one of the problems is once I use my compressor to get that nice top end attack and to get the kick drum nice and tight, I lose a lot of low end. So let me turn off the plugins here, and you can kind of see where we end up here. So the first moves I'm usually making on kick drum, right, are doing a little bit of cutting here, usually a high pass, pulling out anything that's ringing. Then I get my compressor in place, and then I go back and boost top end. But once I get my compressor in place and it's compressing the kick drum to make it tight and to make it attack oriented, I lose a lot of bottom end here. So let's kind of go through the process here. So I'm going to nuke that top end boost here, and I'm going to nuke the compressor. So you can hear just the kick drum with just a couple cuts that we have on here. So this is the first EQ moves on our kick drum here. So you can hear the kick drum has some nice bottom end to it, right? And we've gotten rid of the ringing, rolled off any extra sub area. The next thing I would do here is I would put in my compressor. So doing a 30 millisecond attack, 65 millisecond release. So a pretty quick release here to make sure we let go and catch those doubles in time. And then the attack is on the medium or slower side to make sure we're not squashing the initial transient. So I'm using the compressor here for two purposes: to tighten up the kick drum and to emphasize the initial attack or the initial transient. You can see how much compression we're doing here when I hit play. And again, it's a 3-to-1 ratio, so it's not too aggressive, but I'm not being really gentle with the kick drum here. So take a listen. You can hear the kick drum got really tight, and we emphasize that top end attack, that top end click that we get from the beater making contact with the kick drum head. And we're doing about 8 to 8.5 dB of compression. So it's a lot of compression, but that's what this amount of compression gives you. With using these attack and release settings, a slower attack, a faster release, it's going to help you tighten your kick drum sound, but emphasize that attack because you're leaving room for that initial transient to pop through before you clamp down on the kick drum. The problem is here that we lose a lot of low end. So take a listen here when I bypass the compressor. You'll hear we lose the effect of having it tight and having it punchy, but we gain low end back here. Now, the first instinct here may be to just go back to your EQ and boost some bottom end. The problem is when you go back and you boost bottom end into the compressor, it gives you more of what you already had. So it's going to continue to clamp down on the kick drum and make it tight and make it punchier. You're going to get more attack from it clamping down after the initial transient, but you're not going to get more low end because you're just pushing the compressor harder, making it do more of what it's already doing. So let me give you an example here. I'll boost up bottom end here going into the compressor.
Look through it.
It's not giving us that big and powerful sound. It's just kind of this woolly, this dull kind of thud sound because it's pushing the compressor harder. That's not what we want. The trick to getting your low end big and powerful while keeping that top end nice and punchy is to boost low end after your compressor. So using your compressor to tighten your kick drum, get it nice and even, nice and punchy, and then you bring up the bottom end afterwards. So take a listen to this. Just a 4 dB boost at 80 hertz after our compressor. Listen when I kick this in. Now we have rock solid low end because we have an even kick drum that we boosted afterwards. Instead of driving our compressor harder, we're boosting our low end afterwards, which allows our low end to bloom and to have all this room to breathe instead of being clamped down on by the compressor. That's why we lose low end to begin with when we do this much compression on the kick drum. Because the low end's pushing into the compressor, we lose that first, so we bring it back afterwards. One more time here, let me A-B this last move. So this is the secret here, boosting after your compressor with your EQ. So boosting bottom end, post-compression. You can boost top end pre-compression. A lot of times that sounds really good pushing into the compressor. You can see that's why this big boost is before the compressor, but our low end boost is after the compressor. So take a listen here, one more time without and then with this low end boost. You can hear our kick drum is nice and big, has a lot of nice low end power to it as well. So if you're struggling to get that low end power to come from your kick drum, try moving your EQ boost for the low end post compression. So do your cuts, put your compressor in place, and then boost bottom end. So you give the low end that room to breathe and that room to be as big as it needs to. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your drum mixes to the next level, then you need to go through my 3-step framework for mixing drums workshop. It's going to walk you through my simple 3-step process for getting professional sounding drum mixes each and every time. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.